Unicorns and glitter and taxidermy critters are just some of the things they like. They also enjoy 80s hair bands, Grizzly Adams and John Goodman, so if you think that's weird then you can take a hike. But the things they enjoy the most are making art and cracking jokes, so without further ado, here are your hosts. You've got your two artsy gals, your two artsy gals. Here are your two artsy gals.
Hey everybody, this is Katie.
And this is Lonnie.
And you're listening to Two Artsy Gals. Yay! Oh, shit.
Calm down with that yay over there.
Sorry, I don't still have a
Yeah.
cold. We're recording 2 sessions in one day. So it's the same day as it was last week. So I just don't want you to think I like
She's dying of
tuberculosis or something.
Yeah, drawn out, horrible.
Although, did you hear the freaky thing on the news that so the elephant at the Oregon Zoo that had tuberculosis gave it to a couple of the caretakers?
What? No,
So
I did not
know
hear
that tuberculosis could travel between elephants and peeps.
Gross.
Yeah.
Weird. What? I don't know why gross was my reaction. But
Because tuberculosis is icky.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have it.
Yeah.
I've been tested for it a couple times. I had a couple
Me
of weird
too.
exposures to it.
I had to learn how to do the test when I was being a medical assistant. It's
I
kind of
forgot
cool.
that you did that. Yeah. You
make
have to
a wheel.
look at the little thing and it.
Yeah, you make a little blob of medicine under their skin, and then if it reacts, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, kind of weird. But it's fun to make little wells, they call, or wheels. Yeah, that's fun to do.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
They said that the general public was probably not in danger because the elephant was isolated from the population of they isolated it from the herd.
Do elephants cough?
Of course they do. They have lungs and
Well,
throats
yeah.
and mouths.
I've just never seen it.
I don't think they probably cough like we do.
Yeah.
What are my fucking jerky animals doing today? Jesus.
Dude. What? Oh, you got your ball.
Yeah, the dog and the cat
He
are
wants to
being a-holes
play.
today.
They want to play.
They didn't, I think I said this the last episode, they didn't want to get out of bed this morning, so they're being all underfoot.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really gonna get it. He found that
Nasty ball.
He puts them in the yard
Yeah.
and buries them under the long grass or the ivy or the leaves until they have to stew there for a while until they're really gross, and then he brings them in when they're just at the right grossness.
And then they're his favorite.
That one though, our neighbors have a dog now, and he leaves his balls in the yard, and we share a yard with our neighbors in the duplex. So of course, their dog is gonna be like, sweet, a tennis ball. And Doodah gets all mad and territorial when he goes out. And the neighbor dog had that specific ball the other day and then went in. And so Doodah got it and came inside with it immediately. He was like, fuck that shit.
That is hilarious.
I don't share my tennis balls.
But you know what you can share?
Art. Male and male art.
Yeah. You
You can share art.
You can. It feels good to share.
It does. And actually belonging to art groups and that we do swaps and stuff
Mm-hmm.
makes me do art when I kind of get in an art slump.
Yeah.
It makes me do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'm
today
in
we're
the thick of one right now, yeah.
talking about art groups today and how you can start your own art group and
Mhm.
run some swaps.
Mm-hmm.
Because I get asked that a lot. And I thought I always start a new swap. It seems like I always start new swaps in January after the holidays are over and all that
Mhm.
crazy shit's over. And I just want to do something for me. Now I'm making something for other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was a nice time to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we're going to be making some, I think I'm trying to get one going right now. I don't actually know if that one's going to come together, the one I invited you to recently,
Mm-hmm.
the altered book swap, because there are a few people that aren't interested in it, and the subject matter is a little not okay with some people. So it might just be that I have to make one for my fucking self. And
Yeah.
fuck it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Don't let it.
Because we're doing I want to do altered book spell books.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was trying to conceptualize it, and I was like, I kind of need.
I posted.
The Pinterest, and I haven't gone yet. I need to get inspiration.
Yeah.
Because that is a cool idea.
I might just do some other stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, so I'm trying to think back to when the very first art group I joined was actually not on Facebook. It was probably 7 or 8 years ago. My friend Alicia used to run, do you remember the Ning site?
No.
You could have groups, like it was like a site where you could run groups. It was like a kind of a social media site in that it allowed you to have like a website where you could organize a group and run swaps and people could post content to it. And I participated she invited me, I don't even remember the name of that group. She invited me to that group and we worked on one project, which was we were all doing tarot cards. Everybody did a tarot card mixed media piece and then we were scanning them into the computer and we were going to have a deck of tarot cards printed.
Cool.
But we never actually finished the swap because Ning started charging for their site all of a sudden.
Aww.
And so everybody was like, meh, meh. But I think that I got invited to my first Facebook art group through that site. Like through people that I met on that site.
They're like, hey, we're over here, post a link, like,
yeah.
Come over here and, yeah.
And so I was invited to this art group and it wasn't really a group where I don't recall it being a group that we did a lot of swaps in. People shared their art and showed it back and forth and talked about it and asked each other questions and stuff like that. And then through that group, an old friend of mine, where we actually don't really talk anymore, but she'd said, hey, I want to do art journal swap. I want to, do a little off-color, darker subject matter. Who wants to do it? And I was like, I do, even though I'd never done it before. And it was really freaky to me to put my art out there and do an altered book or journal. I was like, I'm going to do it because she seems pretty cool. So
you like sheepishly raise your hand.
Yeah. So we started this group and actually I'm still in this group to this day.
Wow.
We just kept it a group after we finished the book swap. It was, Lisa Valrath is in it, who we interviewed.
Oh, yeah.
My friend Luna is also in it, who is in our embroidery swap.
Yeah.
And my friend Denise is in it. And then the other lady disappeared off the social media, so she's not a part of it anymore. But that was my first experience. It was a very small swap. And everybody was really super encouraging and kind and funny. And it was just a really good way to get my feet wet. Mm-hmm. And now I host, through those people, I was also invited to another art group that I belong to that we do swaps in on Facebook. And those, I've left a bunch of them. Those are the two central groups, unless I'm running a swap that I belong to. But I guess first and foremost, I would say, if you don't know, I'm going to explain a little bit about what. So you can do art swaps in certain ways. When you're doing altered books or journals, what people usually do is called a round robin swap. So you get the amount of people that you want to do the swap with. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing is you start your book, your journal or your altered book, and then you mail it to there's a list. And beforehand you set up who's going to mail to who. So you mail to the same person every time. Mm-hmm. So you mail to your person on the list. And it depends on how often you mail, depends on the project that you're doing. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but right now I'm just explaining what this is. So you always mail to your person. The next person always mails to their person. The next person always mails to their person. So when you mail your book to the person ahead of you in line, then that person will mail it to the person ahead of them in line. Then that person will mail it to the person ahead of them in line. And eventually your book comes back to you, and that's when you're done.
Okay.
Because everybody's book comes back to them. And then it's a book full of pages of art that everybody has added to your book. It's really cool. I have about 3 or 4 of them that I adore. Mm-hmm. I love them. They're neat just to pick up and look, and then you have art from different friends or artists that you admire and get to work with. So it's cool. Then you can just do outright swaps where, like, for instance, our mail art group, I generally use, like, this website called random.org. They have a randomizer, and I put everybody's name in, and then I hit randomize, and then it shuffles the names, and I just start from the top and work my way down. So, again, I would mail, if your name was below me, I would mail to you, you would mail to the person below you, blah, 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 and then the bottom of the list would mail the person at the top of the list. So everybody just makes something of their own, and then sends it to that person. Mm-hmm. You can also do things like occasionally for our mail art group, I'll have everybody mail, like when we do artist trading cards or something small, this works really well, and multiples of things. And sometimes when I do ornament swaps during the holidays, you make enough of them for everybody that's participating in the swap and mail them to one person, the person that's running the swap, and then that person divides them up so that everybody gets a certain number of each. Usually it's however many you send is however many you get back.
Wow. So that person ends up kind of responsible for a lot of shipping then, right?
Well, we'll talk about that, but usually people pay for their own shipping.
Okay.
So those are 3 basic kind of swaps. Here are some tips that I have for forming and running groups. Now, I've never actually run a swap outside of social media. Mm-hmm. I know some people who have local artsy friends and art groups that meet in person and do art, and they often do art swaps. And some of them do art swaps when you have your monthly, kind of like a Stitch and Bitch, but for art. Mm-hmm. You meet, you do your art, you discuss a swap and plan it, and then the next month people bring their swap in and trade. I think that's neat, but I also think that when you branch out and you're doing stuff with people that you don't know personally, you can get to meet a lot of cool artists, and you get a variety of different art. So, I'm sorry, I'm eating my cough drop so I don't cough in your ear.
Sneak in for a second?
Yeah.
The one I'm in now, it's through a group of people that listen to a podcast, and they've split off into a crafty group, and now they're doing a swap within that crafty group. And they did surveys, which was cool. Everybody in the swap filled out a survey of like, what's your favorite colors? What's your favorite fandoms? What's your this? What kind of things would you love to get? What kind of things would you hate to get? And then you get this, then they matched people up kind of by their interests and what they want. And, it's kind of cool. And then then you get this survey of this person that you don't know, but then you get to know like, oh, they like these things. They like these colors. And like, you can try to, so that's been kind of fun. Yeah. It's challenging.
I like that. Yeah, it is. That's something that you always want to do. Like you get to know people over time, but when you're first getting to know people or you're first doing a swap,
their Facebook page or something.
That's what I always do.
Yeah.
So I go snoop a Facebook page just to kind of get a feel of what the person likes, because I think you want to be conscientious. Also, I feel like that one of the things I like about doing swaps in groups is that it kind of makes you try new things and step outside of your comfort zone.
That's what a lot of people are commenting on this one. They're like, wow, I'm going to try something new because my partner wants this thing. And it's exciting. It's fun. Yeah.
It does make you, and I've learned a lot of new techniques and methods to do things through doing swaps. I've gotten a lot of really great ideas and inspiration. It's pretty neat. It's neat. I think that it definitely, aside from being fun and a cool way to get like a neat art collection.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of cool shit on my walls that have come from like all of those little skull things on my wall over there came from an art swap that we did. I don't know. I have a wall of like postcards and stuff that I swap out. It's just a cool way to get neat shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's from people that you admire. I highly recommend, because I know you can also use, like, in the past, people I know have used, like, Yahoo groups, and stuff like that to create groups. Actually, the last swap that I participated in that was hosted by someone else kind of ended up being a little bit weird because this person then dropped off the face of the earth.
Oh, no.
And stopped communicating because she does this weird thing where she leaves social media just abruptly. Like, I don't know, Facebook bothers her or whatever, but I think when you're running a fucking
yeah, you can't do
swap that you need to be, like, communicative. And so I prefer using Facebook. I think Facebook is a really great features that help you do that because you can
files and the
you can make a group and invite everybody you want to your swap to that group. So then you have a place to communicate. You can communicate on the board of the group. Everybody can ask questions. Like Lonnie said, you have the files. So you can have your instructions for the swap as one file. You have everybody's address listed as another file. Sometimes we've
been
like
doing teasers, little like teaser pictures of what we're making.
Yeah,
because people don't know who's getting whose thing, so that's fun too.
Yeah, that is good. That's fun, and you can also like have a document in the files where you have like tips and inspiration or ideas, or some of my swap groups we have a list of like swaps that people want to do. Like people can post, hey, I would like to do this, and everybody can edit the documents in the group, so that's how you do it. I just
getting me all excited talking about it. I wonder what I'm gonna get.
They're so much fun. I really hope the swap that I want to do works out because I think it'll be really neat.
Yeah,
I might just run it on a really small scale and do a couple of rounds of the round robin. I'm not sure though. But so that's definitely, I would use Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, dude, you got to get out from underneath the fucking rock that you're under. Because, come on, who's not on Facebook? Really?
I was starting to think it was pointless until I discovered groups and things.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my God, this is freaking amazing.
That's
I've met
why
so many people.
Don't think that I could ever leave Facebook. Not because, like, I do. It is a time suck. I'll admit it.
Oh, yeah.
I have to not be on Facebook when I'm working. I try to ignore it. I try to, like, not check my messages or anything like that because it's but I think for someone like me who I work at home, I don't drive. I can't drive anymore because of my disability. So I'm kind of isolated. I don't see people a lot. So that's kind of my social outlet anyway. But even if that were not the case, I have so many friends, artist friends that I've made and so many different groups that I belong to now that are just so much fun.
Yeah. So fun.
Well, that's like a year ago, I saw this really cool hand embroidery thing, like an embroidery sampler book that this lady did online. And my friend Carmelita and I were talking like, oh my God, we should do a swap of this. And I'm like, I'm going to start a fucking group. And so I invited Lonnie to it. Actually, that one's been a little bit of a shit show for circumstances beyond anyone's control.
Right.
Like, right after we started, one of my very dear friends, like, had, no one is. One of my very dear friends had, her granddaughter had her newborn granddaughter had a bunch of health problems. And then her son-in-law's, or her daughter-in-law passed away, and just, like, all this shit just kept happening in her family. And then she moved and retired, and they moved, and she had another granddaughter who was born, and it was just, like, all this shit that just kept her from doing stuff. And then this other poor lady who was just, I'm so sad because she does such beautiful work, but she got fucking carpal tunnel syndrome from doing the embroidery swap, and her doctor said, you gotta stop.
Yep.
No more. Yep. So she had to drop out of the swap, and then we had another lady who ended up having to have emergency back surgery and, like, has screws and shit up in her spine and crap like that. And then we have this other lady now who was just recently evicted from her house with a month's notice because the person who owns it, after living there for like more than a decade, the person who owns it wants to move back into it. So now they're having to move with almost no notice. So we keep moving.
And that's working out in my favor because she's my last page.
So
now
you
I
have
have
a
to
little
wait
bit
for an
longer to
address.
do it. Yeah, you have
I
to
gotta
wait for an
till
address.
Yeah.
Well, I gave it another extension. Like, I've given a few extensions. This swap
Yeah.
has taken so much fucking longer than I ever intended it to.
We thought we would get a page done every month.
Yeah,
or
but
whatever.
and we were going at a good pace, and then
Yeah.
I had until it just something happened. So I think everybody's pretty cool with just taking it as.
But it's been great to get back into embroidery.
Yeah, it's
Oh
really
my
I love
God.
it, and
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
I think awoken this like
Fiber
the
artist.
fiber artist in me. Like I
Uh-huh.
love fiber arts anyway, but
Mhm.
it's kind of made me realize that like fiber arts doesn't just have to be sewing clothing and crocheting and knitting hats and scarves and
Mhm.
blankets. You can kind of incorporate it all into like fine arts. And my
Mhm.
brain now is like, oh my God, with felting and embroidering and beading, like I
Yeah.
can do we're going to do an episode
Yeah.
just about fiber art here
Mhm.
coming up this spring because, and Lonnie has a friend who's a fiber artist that I really want to be a guest and come talk about it.
I know.
Because my
She's-
brain just swims with all of this. But
She's
she's
so
amazing.
uber talented.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
But
She's making herself a long coat and embroidering the whole thing.
Oh my God, I can do that.
Beautiful. Gives me goosebumps.
I have my embroidery machine, and
Ugh.
that is like, cause dude, I'm getting fucking arthritis. Like, if you feel this knuckle on my hand and then this knuckle, like, there is some, I have some
Aw.
fucking big ass knots in my hand. And my fingers swell when I do too much shit like that. But I don't care. I'm gonna
I
do it
know. I had to
anyway.
buy a fancy hoop to
I
be
want
able
to buy
to
one of your fancy hoops.
because I was gripping the hoop with a death grip on my left hand to sew,
Mm-hmm.
and I was giving myself just horrible pains in my arm and shit just because I
Mhm.
was like, gosh, what is it with my death grip on this fucking hoop? So I got a hoop stand, so now I don't have to death grip
I
it.
think I want to
can
do that because,
just so yeah.
well, and you know, at
I
Christmas
can use
time,
both hands and
I did, starting in like October when I started the Afghan that I made for my grandma.
Mhm.
I did my grandma's Afghan. I started my son's sweater knitting that I never finished. I'm still working on.
Mhm.
I kind of had to take a break after the holidays though because of what I'm about to tell you about. And I also crocheted that mermaid tail for my niece.
Mhm.
So that was another Afghan.
Beautiful.
And I did some sewing. I sewed a few things. I sewed a couple of blankets with but when I finished all that shit, I woke up Christmas Eve morning, maybe the morning before that, and I just had this horrible pain in the back of my hand, up my wrist, and a huge knot in the back of my hand. And I thought, what in the fuck is happening? And the
Carpal
back of
tunnel?
my hand swelled. No, it's arthritis. My hand was so swollen. Kurt said my hand looked like Andre the Giant's hand.
But that could also be carpal tunnel because there's a tunnel where all
Yeah.
your tendons split off, and it's right there where it.
But it went away. Like when I stopped,
Okay.
the knot went away and the swelling went away. And then, cause I have ulnar nerve syndrome in my other arm from a really weird injury that I had that's kind of like the same thing, but
Yeah.
through here. It didn't feel like that. And it was just like this massive swelling on my hand. And I asked my mom said, what the fuck happened to your hand at Christmas? And I told her and she's like, oh, welcome to rheumatoid arthritis, honey. Because her and my
Aw.
grandma both have it. But anyway, that was a totally weird aside. Because we were talking about groups.
Yeah, we're talking about swabs. And the
And
drama
swaps.
that can happen.
And the drama. And I guess I will talk about that now, okay? Because there is some shit that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and
I'm
I think
experiencing that right
you have
now.
to be really careful. Like the first swap that the book swap that I was talking about, there was a lady from Australia who was involved in the swap. She was a fucking crazy asshole. She kept everybody's fucking books. She kept my book, and Luna is also in the group. Kept her book, and she wouldn't fucking send them back, and she was holding them hostage. And she's like, look, I have some health problems. I've been having anxiety, blah, 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 which I get. I get anxiety too.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't finish them, send them the fuck back.
Yeah.
Like, we had to start another book for this person. Like, and that is a risky run when you do a swap.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing round robins and it's
Yeah.
something that you've sent out and it's your artwork. And you know what? Some people are real zen about it.
Yeah.
Like, I just consider it a gift. I'm like, fuck that. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
Like, I get mad.
Yeah.
But you have to go into it knowing that could happen.
I'm going through the insecurity of, I think I made something rad. or it looks like a piece of shit. Like, I really can't decide if it's...
I hate that.
If it's shit or not. Like, I was like, Scott, does this look like what I want it to look like? And he's like, yeah, it does.
Oh, I
was
never
like, or
ask my husband
does it look
about
like
stuff
I just
because
smeared some paint on some shit? Because it could go either way, you know? And I'm like, fuck.
Dude, send me a picture. I will tell you.
Okay.
Because I don't ask my husband anything like that because
It's that scarf I sent you a picture
I
of.
think that scarf is cool.
Okay. Because, man, yeah, I'm just like...
I think the scarf is cool, but honestly, I don't ask Kurt any opinions about anything because even when he thinks something that I've done
like,
is
honey,
cool,
yeah, Scott's like, this is your thing, this is your...
you're like, he doesn't know how to talk about it, and he always
he
is
doesn't
like,
appreciate art the
no,
same way
he's
I
like,
do.
I feel like you're
Yeah.
putting me on the spot, and
Mhm.
also,
yeah,
Kurt thinks that most of what I do is cool, but fucking creepy.
yeah.
Like, he thinks that's really fucking creepy, Katie.
Yeah.
Why
Why
you
did you
doing
put
that?
teeth in a
Like,
shoe
well,
and
yeah,
hang it
why
on the
is that?
wall?
Why are you doing that with that skull? I don't get it. And it's, wait, you're painting it and then you're just going to put it in the mail like that? Like,
Yeah,
it
they
weirds
don't
him
get
out. Like,
it.
he
They
thinks
don't
it's
get
cool.
it, yeah.
And he thinks it's cool. He calls me an evil genius, but he's just as likely to repeatedly tell me I'm like 8 pounds of creepy in a 5-pound bag as he is to say, hey, that's really neat. So I don't ask him about stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry.
Also, I tried painting some fabric, and it's super stiff,
Mm-hmm.
and so I need to figure that out, too.
Yeah.
Like, how to soften it. Probably fabric softener.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm experimenting, so it's...
That's the
you
cool
know,
thing about groups
yeah,
because it makes
yeah.
you experiment.
Yeah.
So I think for groups, you start out like when you're doing a swap group, I would work with people that I know.
Yeah, to start, yeah.
To start, I went into it, but I didn't know anybody in my group that I
I know,
went
right
into
now
the
I'm
first
just
time.
like-
I'm like, oh, hey, well, nice to meet you.
But the little
we-
survey helps. If you do something
Yeah.
like that, then you kind of get to know.
Well, and we all got along really, like, we're all weirdos because it
Mhm.
was a very specific theme. And
yeah.
I think a certain kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I need another cough drop. Damn. I think a certain kind of person would do that. And so we all got along really well, except for the crazy a-hole that didn't fucking return
that ruined
books.
everything. Yeah.
She eventually did return the books, but she was a dickbag. Anyway, we did we kind of had a thing where we were like, okay, what do you not want in your book?
Yeah.
In your book, because I'm terrified of clowns.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't put clowns in my shit. Another person was like, I don't like doilies. I think doilies are fucking dumb and they make me want to murder people. Don't put doilies in my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Another person was like, somebody was like, nothing about pubes. I don't know why pubes would be involved, but I did do a page in that person's book about asparagus pea, so, because we were talking about asparagus pea. It was funny. But anyway, I think that it's appropriate once you form your group to kind of say what do you like and what you don't like.
It's probably safe to not include pubes in anything.
It was a dark, weird art swap, though, so it kind of went some weird places.
Okay.
That was the whole point of it, but...
Maybe if they're embroidered pubes, like...
Oh, now I'm thinking of something else. So, usually the way I start a swap is I get an idea for something that I want to do, and I go, this would be a cool swap.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go through my list of artist friends and go, who, because I have people that I like to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and people that I don't like to work with. I have people I like to work with because I like their art,
Mm-hmm.
or just because I think they would be good at just this certain thing that I'm doing. So, this is a swap outside of an art group. Or even within an art group. Say you start a group on Facebook and it's people that you like. But I always start a separate group for separate swaps that aren't running within
Mm-hmm.
a group that I have just because it's easier for... Not everybody wants to hear about your swap that you're doing. So it's nice to have a place to communicate only about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I get an idea and I go, I'd like to do this. And then I go through my list of people that I want to participate. Try to keep it small because the more people you have, the more potential for it to just be a huge shit show
Mm-hmm.
there is. I like to keep it between 3 and 6 people because, it just seems manageable. Once you get past 5 or 6 people, especially if you're doing stuff with a month turnaround
Mm-hmm.
is because this is a 6-month endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
If there are 6 people in the group. So
Yeah.
you just have to remember, like, if you have 12 people in the group, it's going to take a year to do your swap,
Mm-hmm.
which is, it can be really cool. And it's neat to have the books come to you each month with more and more in them. And you can look through and see what people have done before. This is
Yeah.
for a round robin, obviously. But, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Like the one I'm doing is a direct exchange.
Yeah, direct swap.
Yeah, but they don't know. Yeah, it's like a secret. They don't know
Mhm.
who is getting them and whatever.
Then once you have the people that you want to do it invited and they've agreed to do it, I don't just add people to the group. I always message them
No,
separately
yeah, they have
and
to
say,
know.
would you
Yeah.
like to participate in this?
Mhm.
Let me know and I'll add you to the group, because I
Mhm.
fucking hate it. And I really wish that Facebook would add a feature so you can decline group invitations. Like, it would,
No,
I
I've
would
been
say,
added to
so and so invited you to this group. Would you like to be in it? And you could say yes or no, because I've been added to some stupid fucking groups.
Oh my god, as a fat girl, I get added to fitness groups all the time. People
Yeah,
doing
no.
the coaching
Fuck
shit
you
or
guys.
the Shakeology stuff. I get
Mhm.
added to those all the time. I'm like, nope. Thanks for not
Fucking-
asking.
yeah,
just
dick.
adding me.
Added me to your fat person group.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Rude.
My own fat person group. Suck it. It's called me, my dog, and my fucking ice cream.
That's right.
But, so you have all your people in your group, and you've presumably now I always put a description of the swap in the group and post it either, these are the rules of the group kind of thing. This is what we're doing.
hmm
Blah, de blah. You usually go through a phase where everybody asks a bunch of questions, like sometimes way more questions than you want to answer.
There's been a lot of that. Oh my god, I've never done this before. What am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, so once you get all that ironed out, you're going to figure out your mailings, your mailing order.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's just a random swap like Lonnie's doing, I'm assuming people got
Somehow they matched people up, which I feel like is a lot of work for whoever's running
Mhm.
the swap, but they looked at all these surveys and kind of matched people on what they want and what the person can do. And
Yeah,
like,
that's more fucking
yeah,
work than I would
yeah,
do.
I was like,
I will
whoa,
use
you guys,
randomizer.org.
This is like crazy organized.
I'll post a link to the
They must
randomizer that I use.
They must have like, yeah, they must do
Yeah.
that for
Yeah, because
you know,
that's too much fucking
yeah.
work.
second nature to them. But to me, I was like,
I
whoa.
know. That's too
Yeah.
much work.
Yeah.
So you figure out your mailing order. I'll post a link to the randomizer.org site that I use to randomize names.
Mhm.
But you do that. And then you just start your swap.
Mhm.
Like, you kind of have to figure out a theme and lay some ground rules. Ground rules are important. Ground
Mhm.
rules and communication are what keep swaps going well.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't think that I'm terribly strict about stuff, and I'm pretty flexible when people need more time. I've done swaps with people who are like, nope, you can't be on time, you're out.
Yeah.
And those kind of swaps make me a little bit anxious, but
Mhm.
I'm usually pretty good about being on time with things anyway.
Mhm.
And you want to definitely let people know what you expect of them in the swap.
Mhm.
Because I just feel like the fewer questions you leave, the more smoothly things will go.
Yes.
So if you have a 1-month turnover and you want to be very strict about it, I would say, I want a 1-month turnover. I would like to be very strict about this timeline. If you don't feel like you can adhere to it or keep up to it, just please drop out now.
Mhm.
Some people you kind of have to say, hey, look, because they'll say, oh no, that might be a problem for me, but I really, really want to do this. So I'm going to try. Or some people say like, well, I don't really like the theme, but I really want to do this. So I'll do it, but I want mine to be like this. You just got to say, you can't be worried about hurting people's feelings.
Mhm.
You got to say, you know what? I appreciate that you want to do it and I'm glad that you want to be involved, but this is what it is. And if you're uncomfortable with it or you can't stick to it, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the group
Mhm.
and just remove them from the group.
Mhm.
Because you're in charge of an entire group of people and keeping this going smoothly for them.
Yeah. I think there's 3 people running this one I'm in.
Mhm.
'Cause, yeah, it's
So you got to be very clear.
yeah.
That is the biggest thing.
Mhm.
Set your rules and stick to them.
Yes.
And then again, like, with our embroidery swap, it was like fucking destined for failure. I don't think it's failed, but I think that it runs the risk of failing, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not feeling very confident about it.
You could tell at the beginning how people were like, I don't know. Like, I'm signing up for this, but I'm not sure.
Well, and I think that I got most of the people.
I was unsure, but then I was like, no, I'm doing this. I was kicking ass at first.
Yeah.
Till this last one, and then I'm like, what? But yeah.
Well, and honestly, now I've been feeling so discouraged about the way it's going that I'm kind of like, meh, and I'm pretty behind.
Yeah.
And I'm running the swap. So look at me, who's the asshole now?
Tootie.
But
I know what I said.
Tootie. I've given extensions. I just gave the last extension, and I just said, you know what? I know because my co-group runner just got over having a terrible flu. She's also really down in the dumps about David Bowie, and she's not super great about communicating.
No. She's not.
It's a little bit of a frustration, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So I love you. You know, I love you so much. But, so I think in general, this has been a really frustrating swap for me. Mm-hmm. But I understand, like really, there's just been so much weird shit happening.
Yeah.
That, like, you expect to maybe happen to one person during a swap group.
Right, yeah, not everybody.
But not every single fucking person has had this, like, crazy shit. And then I got shingles. When I got shingles, I was like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah.
We're taking this month off.
Yeah.
And this is it, because I couldn't fucking do any more.
And I've got some stupid inflammatory bowel disease. What the fuck? Like, who? Why? Yeah, no.
No, that shit can fuck off.
It's lame.
That shit can fuck off.
It is. Yeah, totally. What the hell? The curse of the embroidery swap.
So anyway, I feel like we keep getting off track, and maybe I don't know if I'm answering all the questions that I should be. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not prepare for this one, you guys. Lonnie and I just said, let's fucking wing it. Yeah. Fuck it. Oh, the mailing. This is it. So usually people pay their own shipping fees. Like if you're doing a round robin, you're just going to the post office and paying to ship your book to your person or whatever to your person every month.
It's not as much as I thought it was going to be. It's just a couple bucks.
No, you don't have to do priority unless they say priority. Some groups require priority.
That would irritate me a little bit, but whatever. Yeah.
I've done swaps where you have to mail to someone out of the country, and that kind of bums me out.
It's faster than people give it credit for. I mean, it'll show up in like 2 or 3. My friends, I took it to the post office 5 p.m. She got it the next day.
Yeah, if it's someone in town, that's really fast.
In the Dells.
Yeah, it's in the States.
Yeah. But I was like, whoa.
Well, even so, like, I mailed some stuff at Christmas time, regular rate, and it got places in plenty of time.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. I love the self-service kiosk, by the way.
I do too.
I hate waiting in line. Sorry. I do too. Sidebar.
I hate waiting in line so much.
Yeah.
But, what I usually do when we're doing swaps, like, okay, everybody, you're doing a 1-for-1 swap, and everybody mails you artist trading cards or postcards or whatever to one person, and that person sorts it out and mails it to people. I have people either send cash in their envelope, or PayPal me the cash.
Okay.
For their mailing fees.
Okay.
Remember to say that you need them to pay for their mailing fees. Most people that do this are like, sweet, all right. Some people that have been doing it for so long just do it automatically, that you don't even have to ask. But remember to ask.
Yeah.
So you're not stuck
I've never
paying
been
all the
one
shipping
of those where
fees.
someone's redistributing things. I've never done that. But yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, and if you don't have a PayPal, it's easy. You just set up your PayPal, and then people can send it to you through your email address. And now they have you can bill people. Yeah,
it gives you a web address that they can just go to and pay you directly. That's cool. Thank you, PayPal. Wow. Yeah.
So, I think that's swaps in a nutshell. And as far as starting your own group, just put some feelers out.
Yeah, put on your Facebook page, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing.
Does anybody want to that's what I do.
Join me? Yeah.
And you'll have a few friends that say, yeah, that sounds awesome. And then your friends will have a few friends.
I tried that once, and I learned that all of my friends have a huge fear of commitment. It was funny. Yeah. They're like, I just don't think. I'm like, come on, you can. Oh, fine. I get it. I know.
I'm kind of an annoying cheerleader, and I convince people that they can
Come
do
on,
things.
You can do like the one. Okay, so this one I have been doing. It's in a group of moms, and so they're like, okay, your craft should take 3 nap times, and you have a month. So it's cool because they're like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's a neat, funny way to like make the timing of like, you know, you should work on your project a few hours. Like, cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. Because I actually, when my son was little, I put away pretty much all of my art stuff I didn't do for several years. I sewed.
A lot of these people are like,
but
wow,
I
I'm
sewed
finally
things
doing
for
this
him.
again because of this swap. That's so cool. Yeah, like I'm dusting off my paints or I'm dusting off my
I think it's
crochet
easy
hooks.
when you have small
Yeah.
children to just forget about things that fulfill you.
Mm-hmm. So these things can be so great for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And to connect people that are, and also young moms are isolated. When you have
Yeah.
little ones, it's super isolating. And so this is a way to
Especially
like,
when you have little ones and like, you know, maybe not all of your friends have kids, and
Mhm.
definitely people do not get it if they don't have kids.
Mhm.
They can say they get it, but they don't
don't.
fucking get it.
No.
They don't get it.
No.
People get frustrated, and I'm finding that I'm going through this weird thing now where my son's 20
Mhm.
and I'm 43 and a lot of my friends are having babies for the first time or have small kids, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you guys suck. You can never do anything. But that's what they were saying about me 20 years ago
Mhm.
when I had my kid when I was 22.
And they're out partying.
And
And
they're
you're like, where
"Oh,
are
you
you?
suck. You never get to go anywhere.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It's weird.
It is weird. Yeah, there are a lot of people our age having babies.
It's nuts.
Could you
I can't
imagine?
fucking
Holy
imagine that.
shit.
No.
No.
Like, I really,
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing anyone for
No,
having
no,
babies
no,
at
no.
this age. I
It's
just
amazing to
personally,
me. It's amazing to me.
knowing how hard having a child was at 22,
Mm-hmm.
although I do think that there are things that I would have been better at as an older parent.
Yes.
I don't think I would have been so anxious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really don't think I would
Yeah.
have been so anxious.
You wouldn't be
but-
so affected by what other people think.
Mhm. Or
It's
so
just
worried
like-
about the
yeah.
job I'm doing as a parent or
Uh-huh.
anything like that.
Yeah.
But definitely. Man, we are so hard on ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that
Crazy.
this other group, yeah, they're all about just you're doing a good job.
Do it.
Just do it because you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Don't let the haters get you down, man.
No.
No.
Don't let them
You're
do
doing
that.
a good job.
They can fuck off.
Yeah, seriously.
So if you want to run an art group, just start one.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I just start some shit that I want to do.
And there's probably even more advice out there in the interwebs of
Oh,
how
yeah.
to do it and stuff, you know.
But the thing is, like, I don't want people to go
Doesn't have to be
I got
hard.
really intimidated by reading some of those articles about starting an art swap
oh
groups
yeah,
and stuff
some
because
people are intense.
people are very
Type
fucking
A's.
intense about it. They're
Uh-huh.
very intense about the rules. They're very
Mhm.
like, you have to do things this way. You have to do
And
things
then
that way.
Spanking
Like,
if you don't.
fucking whatever.
Time
Just
out.
do it. Make the rules you want. Make
Yeah.
it work for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what's
definitely.
important.
And it
Make
should be
it
fun.
work for you, and it should be
It should
fun.
not be a stressful burden that
No.
makes you want to
Whoa,
cry.
sorry for the burp. That was weird. No, like, you should never feel stressed out about it because you know what?
Mhm.
Once you do, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And that totally fucking defeats the purpose
Yeah,
of doing an art swap.
yeah. It's supposed to be fun.
Just relax.
Yeah.
Have a good time. You know,
Mhm.
you're not doing it
Do
for
what you can.
You're not doing it for a business. You're doing it
No.
for leisure
Yeah.
and relax and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any stories or questions about this episode, or you want to let us know about nightmare art swap or your favorite art swap that you've ever done, email us at twoartsygals@gmail.com, or you could call and tell us about it.
Mm-hmm. At 503-395-7190. Holla.
Holla. You can also holler at us on our you can tweet us because we're on the Twitter. You can tweet us. I think we're at Two Artsy Gals. I don't remember what we are.
I don't know.
You can link through to, I suppose I should fucking know that. I just have it so my phone, my phone automatically signs in. So I never have to like actually use our username. We're also on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram. If we remember, we post pictures because we're going to have an art day again soon.
Okay.
Because I love it when Lonnie and I get to have an arts and crafts day and
Mhm.
take pictures and make stuff together.
Yeah.
So we do post pictures of that. I post pictures of other stuff sometimes.
My nose is really...
Mine is too. We're on the Facebooks. We're everywhere, motherfuckers. Follow us. Motherfuckers. I just called our listeners motherfuckers.
Wow.
Right?
I wonder how they feel about that.
I don't
Call and
know.
tell us.
Call and tell us how you feel about that.
Mhm.
Also subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher
Mhm.
because, you know, it's how you get our show
Yeah.
on the regs. And leave
Mhm.
us good feedback because that is rad.
Yeah.
And we will be back next week, officially for real, to talk about dioramas. And hopefully Lonnie and I will have made one.
I know.
by then.
I hope so.
Do you know what I'm making one in? I'm going to make one of those skulls have a flip top and make a diorama inside of a skull.
Crazy shit.
Right?
That's cool.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe. I might just go smaller scale. I don't know. But yeah, so.
I've been thinking about mine.
Have you?
Yeah. Sorry.
Been
You were
thinking-
about to
I was
sign
going to
off.
sign off and I'm like, wait, what? You have? So
Been
yeah.
Thinking about it.
We're thinking about it and we're going to do some cool shit and we
Mhm.
will be back to show them to you next week. So until then, go make some cool shit, yo!
Do it now.
Ooh, she sounded like a muppet.